A female said you'd rather be in the woods with a bear than a man.
But the question isn't real, and we all know the question isn't real. It's hypothetical.
TikTok, yeah. Hi everyone, thank you so much if you opened this video and gave my channel a chance. My name is Katerina and today we are going for TikTok. Yeah, I have this idea. I want to talk about social issues and what's the best place that you can go to look for social stuff, like people's opinions. Yeah, TikTok is yes. I particularly don't like, it's not my personal kind of thing. I was always a YouTube girl. So TikTok doesn't personally attracts me, but we cannot deny that it's the app of the moment. Everyone is on TikTok. Any new thing, any new trend is on TikTok, and most of the time they actually start this new trend. So I thought that it could be really fun if I start to do a new segment over here in my channel talking about social issues using TikTok videos of people giving their opinions, this kind of stuff, and I could comment, and you guys can also comment right down below of this video. It would be really helpful if you could interact with this video some way, give a like, a comment, engage somehow. So I decided to start with not a particularly easy one for me. If you ever watch any of my videos, a very constant topic that I talk about is religion, and I am atheist. And I think that a lot of people could think, oh, so she's cold, this kind of stuff. But actually, I'm very soft. I have a very soft heart. I'm very sensitive. I don't like it. This topic is not easy for me because of this, because it truly hurts me. But I think it's very needed, very necessary. The new trend of the moment, maybe not that new anymore. I'm a little bit late to the party, but oh well, a trend called bear or man. This trend consists on people asking other people what they rather, to be lost in the forest with the bear or with the man. First look, it seems kind of silly, very out of the place. It's important to point out that this is a hypothetical situation, and that question that seems easy and simple actually reveals a lot. Most specifically, the answers of that question reveals a lot about our society, and I think one of the biggest social issues that we always have, and this is gender issues. Bear or man? This question has been circulating for some time in coffee shop debates, memes, and even obscure philosophical discussions. But as soon as TikTok touched it, it became a trend with millions of people responding with conviction, I prefer the bear. The question is why? Why does this choice reveal about our experience, our fears, and the way that we interact with male gender? Today we are going to deep into these answers that seems simple but paves the way for intense, emotional, and perhaps uncomfortable social reflection. I choose 3 TikTok videos to talk to you guys about. I saw a lot of them, a lot of TikTok videos talking about this, but I need to be practical and reasonable, so I pick only 3. 2 made by men, 1 made by a woman. The first video that I'm going to watch is about John, but John was a police officer for about 31 years and he shoots the bear.
Man or bear? I hadn't heard of this until my wife asked me about this a couple days ago, and she posed it to me like this. Would you rather have your daughter in the woods alone with a man or a bear? I instantly said bear, and then I thought about it, and I still said bear. I'll tell you why. My name's John. I was a police officer for 31 years, spent the last 11 in the Crimes Against Persons section, investigating all things bad that happen to people. And to say that I'm aware of the icky things that people can do to each other is an understatement. Well, we can look at this question from a couple different angles, like who would be the most helpful? Well, a human could be helpful. who would potentially be the most immediately dangerous? The bear. We talk about motivation. If we're out in the woods, we're in the bear's domain. We're in his backyard, as it were. We're not in the man's backyard.
One of the most important things to pick it up of this video is John's profession. John was a police officer for over 3 decades. And I think sometimes we forget that police officers, they are also people, they are human beings. They are the first ones to arrive at the scene. Firefighters, police officers, that is not a walk on the park, you know. That must be really mentally hard, and it must cause some kind of trauma. I think it's very human. It creates a rage. You see how deep human cruelty can go. That messes you up. It's gonna hurt, and you're gonna start thinking that the people that do these crimes, they are the ones that are not real human beings. I think it's important to notice this when we look at John's answers. Choosing the bear isn't just a response to a trend, it's an emotional testimony. In this case, the profession shapes the view of humanity. They see the worst side of humankind. It's easy to label any police officer of abuser or violent, and some of them are, but generalizing erases any kind of humanity.
So the motivation will be different. The bear kills because he's trying to protect something, or they're hungry, I would imagine. I'm not a bear expert. Men kill because they make a choice. Often men kill because they want to. Often men kill over emotion, jealousy, rage. I don't think this plays into what animals do. Animals are instinctively based. They are fight or flight. You don't harm them, they're likely not going to harm you.
This is another very interesting point. The bear doesn't have malice. Bears, animals in general, they don't have this side that we have, this bad side, this dark side. Animals, they follow instincts and they fight for survival. But humans, we kill for pleasure. We have conscience and reasoning. We have choices. Animals don't. Sometimes we do a lot of poorly choices. We get hurt for pleasure, for revenge, for control. John is saying that he can kind of predict bear's behavior, but human behavior, that's a different story.
What I can tell you is this, is that 1 in 7 women in their lifetime, statistically, are injured by a man. And it's usually someone that they know, someone that they should trust. 1 in 7. 1 in 2 million, 2.1 million people are attacked by bears. 1 in 2.1 million. I got that last number off the internet. I hope it's right. So, my daughter, we're in the woods, alone with a man or a bear. Me understanding how men will continue to harm women at an alarming rate. I go bear every day of the week. Anybody who says different is a goofball.
Okay, so the statistics that John speaks here, they are correct. The statistic 1 in 7 women in the United States has been injured by an intimate partner is well funded and reflects a serious problem of domestic violence. According to data from the CDC and the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survivors Survey, approximately 1 in 7 women in the US has suffered injuries caused by an intimate partner during their lifetime. In addition, 1 in 4 women has experienced severe physical violence such as beating, strangulation, or use of a weapon by an intimate partner at some point in their lives. It is estimated that nearly 47% of American women have experienced some form of partner violence, including physical violence, sexual violence, or stalking in their lifetime. This is heavy. The statistic that 1 in 2.1 million people are attacked by bears is in fact true according to the data from US National Park Service. This number represents the overall probability of a person being injured in a bear attack. Why so low? Bears generally avoid contact most encounters and without violence. We could definitely reflect about this. I don't know any of these creators, by the way, just videos that I found.
I'm a sexual assault survivor. When I was 15, a 55-year-old woman assaulted me and 3 of my friends at a party where she served a bunch of 15-year-olds alcohol. Way to go, Granny. And I don't hate women. I've stepped in to defend women against attacks from men in city streets or bars. I can't say if they're all sexually related or sexually motivated. They probably were. But when we get to the question of this, I do empathize for victims. I get that. But the question isn't real. And we all know the question isn't real. It's hypothetical. I was just at a store. There are hundreds or thousands of people at this Walmart, men and women walking around, doing their thing, minding their own business. Not a single woman in there was shifty-eyed, dysphoric, or afraid of any of the men in that store. I was just at a restaurant. I was at a bank. I was at a coffee shop. I was walking through a park. No one was afraid of men. Replace any of those men with one bear and see what happens. So because we know it's hypothetical, let's have an adult conversation. Ready? The existence of the question at all creates bias against men. I can trick you just the same way. I'd say, what do you think Islamic men use more to murder their wives with? Guns or knives or rope? The fact that I asked the question, you'd go, well, why is he asking that question? Do they murder their wives a lot? The question is safety, bear, man, alone, right? Those are the 4 real words in that question. It is embedding a bias against men. Every woman that has answered that question, bear, has stepped out in public since, has interacted with hundreds of men. The average woman will interact with 300 men per day. Maybe they opt for the bear just because they want to mix it up. They're like, I'm getting so bored with the thousands of men that I see every week that maybe I just want to see a bear. I don't think you understand the gravity of this question. As a abuse survivor, I'm standing up against a false claim against the nature of men, where 1 in 1,000 men, or maybe just a hair over 1 in 1,000 men, will commit a crime of this nature. That's a very thin number of men. I am literally trying to stop thousands of women who don't know any better but then to participate in a trend from creating this wave of propaganda against men. Someone is trying to use this question against men, and women think it's a cool, dramatic way to say, I'm afraid of men. But they're really actually not afraid of men, because they wouldn't go outside. The question appeals to a logical fallacy called the fallacy of relative privation. They're trying to say that because a single man could do more harm than a single bear, that all men are more dangerous than all bears on average, regardless of the context of the interaction. That strips away all sense of goodwill or truth to the fact that women interact with 300 men per day on average. Men will underreport at 3 times the rate of women. Men are victimized just as much, but we're stigmatized against talking about it. Both sides are victims, but men are not doing this campaign to smear women to try to damage the entire, gender of women. Except for me now. I'm doing what's called logical parallels. My whole argument for the last 2 weeks has been such. Since women assault children, their biological kids, at 2.5x the rate that all men assault all women sexually, then women should lose custody of their kids until they stop it, because the phrase going around online right now is all men until no men. So until no women, all women, women do not deserve custody of their biological kids if any of them are capable of harming a child. So the reason why women are choosing the bear is because it's not a real question and they won't have consequences if they answer in a dramatic way for effect. Just like the 30-something% of boys that are like, well, dude, if there's no consequences, I totally take advantage of a chick. See, yeah, maybe people are bad people by nature, but people still obey the law. And that's why if 32% of college men would commit SA if there's no consequences, but then only 1 out of every 1,000 men will commit that crime, that shows how much people have discipline over their nature. And you cannot say the same thing about a bear.
Okay, so there is a few things that I want to talk about this video. A few points that he touches that I want to comment. So first of all, he says that, of course, women, you are not afraid of men because go and live your life. So of course, you're not afraid of men, because if you were, you wouldn't leave the house. Okay, first of all, this is simplifying a very real issue to a ridiculous point. This is not that easy. It doesn't happen like that. And I'm gonna tell you why. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm a woman. And you're right. If I go on a supermarket and I just minding my own business and I'm picking my groceries, if a random dude, let's call him the red shirt dude, if the red shirt dude is on, I don't know, the fish section, like picking something for him, I'm not gonna even notice. Who notice random people on supermarket? But if I leave and I see the red shirt guy following me to the parking lot, that's a different conversation. I'm not saying that I'm gonna be instinctive scared, but I'm gonna look over my shoulder, I'm gonna pay a little more attention because this is it's me and this random dude in this empty parking lot. If I leave the supermarket and I don't know, I go down the stairs because the parking is down the stairs, that's a very even more intimidated situation. I think it's a little more scary if a random man just follows you. You know what I'm saying? So being in a supermarket does not eliminate fear. It only temporarily dissolves it through the presence of cameras, people, security. Fear of men is not constant. It's conditional and contextual. This situation that I told you, if you leave the supermarket and this random person follows you, it depends of the context, it depends of the situation of the moment. That's the contextual fear. And we also have the conditional fear. And the conditional fear is the fear that pretty much society put it on you. Not exactly society, but events, situations, political decisions, news, everything that you see during your life that talks about violence against women. It's a reality that we all know. We all know that it exists, but we don't like to talk about, but we know that it exists because we hear so many news stories. So it depends a lot. If I live with my group of friends, I'm gonna feel comfortable, so I'm not gonna be that scared. But if I came to my house at night and if I'm alone and I see a random dude coming in my direction, I don't think this is fair. It's just very simplifying a contextual and serious problem. Give him some slack that I kind of see his point. Some women beat or mistreated their kids, so no woman should have rights to their kids. And I see what he's doing. Generalizing it's wrong. It's harmful. But the issue over here is not generalizing. It's not generalizing. It's not putting down men. It's just us sharing our fears. It's not saying that. I'm talking about men, gender, people in general. You cannot call us hysterical or emotional because we feel fear. That's our reality, our perspective. And this trend somehow shows our perspective. And we have fear of men because a lot of shit happened to us. And men, when they hear this, they feel like it's an attack. But it's not. It's important to us to have conversations about real social issues. And this is one of them. We need to teach men that they need to respect women. It needs to grow with the child. It needs to be something that we cultivate the new generation with. Women's fears, they are not delusional. They come from real experience. Okay, so the last video is a little more ironic, but it speaks of real problems that women faces. So let's see.
Oh no, I think I'm really lost in the woods. Oh my god, is that a bear?
Well,
Oh my god, who are
all
you? All you females said you'd rather be in the woods with a bear than a man, and now look at you, all scared of a bear.
Okay, well, I'm also kind of scared of you right now. Like, who are you? Were you following me?
Yeah, I'm just a normal guy, and you're acting like a crazy bitch right now, and have fun getting mauled by a bear.
Hey, is this guy bothering you?
Yeah. See, you're about to get mauled because you chose the bear. I bet you're feeling pretty stupid right now, but whatever, I'm gonna have fun watching you get torn to shreds.
I just ate. I don't really know what you're talking about, but you're being kind of weird.
You're a bear. You attack people. I've seen videos of it.
Well, you're a man, so you also attack people. A lot more people than I do. And you also attack bears sometimes, okay? I saw The Revenant.
Like, I only attack things when I feel threatened or I need to eat. Like, you're foaming at the mouth hoping that I attack her to feel self-righteous. I don't fantasize about women getting hurt. I fantasize about fish and berries. And if I did attack her, no one would be like, well, what was she wearing? Was she drunk? This is what she gets for camping. And if I did attack her, people would be hunting me down. They wouldn't be like, well, the bear has a promising future
loser in water polo, so maybe we should be lenient. Women don't walk down the streets at night hoping they're not getting followed by a bear. Women don't cover their drinks in case of a bear attack. I'm not gonna get aggressive with her if she says no, because I don't understand English. I could go on and on and on and on, but we would be here all goddamn day. So why don't you just focus on making yourself the kind of man a woman would choose over a bear. Ma'am, would you like to be escorted out of the woods? That would be lovely. Thank you. You know, I would trust you to hold my drink.
With this video, let's start from the beginning. When the man says, well, I bet you feel pretty stupid that you choose the bear over a man, I just want to touch this because I really feel this could be a genuinely answer from a lot of dudes over there. This is so common. I can see so many men answer this or agreeing with this. This statement is arrogant, it's manipulative, typical of a logic that invalidates women's choices and tries to make them feel guilty for prioritizing safety. And I feel like men do this a lot to us. Society does this a lot to us. We are considered crazy and unbearable, insufferable for speaking our minds and for talking about our fears. Another point, the bear says, hey, if I attack her, nobody would doubt it. And that's so brutal because besides the violence that women suffer, sometimes when they are brave enough and they came forward and talk about abuse that they sadly experience, a lot of times we doubt them or we just create excuses. We are always making an excuse for men behavior, for men decision and violence against women. And it must be really hard come from that experience and be strong enough to share, and people don't believe in you and start making excuses for your aggressor. Bear symbolizes a undeniable type of danger. Man, he attacks and often receives justifications, excuses, and relativization. I never had an abuse experience, nothing too serious, but I had my fair share of bad and uncomfortable experience. Since the beginning of time, women have been treated as public property, and today, in the 24th century, most men still think everything is fine. And when a trend like bear or men appears, instead of listening to what's behind it, the fear, the insecurity, the lived experience, some men prefer to react with anger. They feel attacked. But everyone knows that a woman cannot wear earphones at night when she's go home alone. Everyone knows that we look over our shoulders, that we avoid certain routes, that we cross the other side of the street. And they know this because they have seen it happen. Because sometimes they have been silent compliance. We all know that. We are all aware. So why so much anger? Why so much mockery? We should see this trend as actually a very random, but it can teach us something. It's a reflection of our society. The problem is not the trend, it's the mirror it offers. Men denial of real violence and oppression against women often comes not from ignorance, but from an avoidance of responsibility. Because facing this head on would mean admitting that even if they have not committed abuse directly, they have been socialized in a system that benefits them. And when the system is confronted, instead of listening, qualification comes. Hysteria, exaggeration, drama, emotional problem. These words are not only offensive, they are historical instruments of silence used since the days when medicine called women as mentally ill for expressing pain or indignation. But it's not an exaggeration one. We are afraid of walking on the street at night. We have to change our clothes for safety reasons. We avoid certain conversations so we don't provoke reactions, and mostly because we are questioned more than the perpetrators. Feeling anger, hurt, is legit. And the fact that this trend makes it uncomfortable, I think that's the main reason. That's why it's important to be talked about. Guys, thank you so much. If you like this video, please share, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this format. You like it. And thank you so much. I see you on my next one. Bye.